Well, what's good, everybody? This is again podcast Two Preachers in a Popcorn Box. I am your host, Brian Mitchell, and alongside with me is my co-host.
DT, what's happening, people? What it do?
What's good? What's good? Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, thank you guys so much for your participation in this episode. I got some really, really good news for this podcast. The audio version is now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a brand new podcast host, Amazon Music. So you have the ability to listen to this podcast on various platforms. And of course, we are also, um, on YouTube as well. So make sure that you go back, watch this on YouTube, listen to the podcast on these other platforms. All right. So the movie for today is Project Power. This movie is an interesting one. It is, from what I believe, it's a different take on the superhero genre. That's one of the popular forms of movies right now is superheroes, and so this particular movie is just a different take on it. So I kind of wanted to start with a question kind of off topic, but kind of on topic as well. I love superheroes. If you're watching this live, you can possibly see I have on a Spider-Man shirt.
That's right.
Spider-Man is my favorite superhero.
Yes, sir.
But I have a question, Derrick, and you can chime in first.
Uh-huh.
If you had to pick at least two superhero powers, what would they be, and how could you apply that to your life? You ain't got to get all deep, but just give me like at least
Why you
two.
without water now? I ain't got to be deep. I mean, that's just like asking a puddle of water not for you to be wet when you step in
I
them. I know you posted the question earlier. I have no unearth because there's so many. But what can I have? I know you mentioned telekinesis,
uh-huh.
which will be fire. Um, my other one would, well, I guess telekinesis, that would be yours, but indestructibility.
Like
Uh,
Wolverine, huh?
well, Wolverine, he has a healing factor. He has, adamantium in his bones and all that other jazz,
Mhm.
which is cool. But not even with the claws, but the ability to withstand that potent power of anything that hits me, internally, externally.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, indestructibility will be definitely the one for me. Two, and that will be my defense, my offense. I don't know. I guess telekinesis will be fine.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I'll steal that from you because there's
You
so
gonna
many. I mean, we could pull, you know, or superpower. Mm, mm, let's do three since I'm throwing that
okay.
out there.
Okay.
Let's have super genius intelligence.
Mm. Okay. I got you. I
Put them
got you.
three, put them three together.
Okay.
Unstoppable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, I did mention telekinesis, right? The ability to move anything with my mind. Like
Right.
that power has so many various applications. That's like, to me, um, Jean Grey is one of the most powerful superheroes because she literally has the ability to move anything with her mind.
Right.
So telekinesis would be one. Second one for me is teleportation. Like Nightcrawler, just the ability to go in and out of any situation,
Right.
any place. Just at the thought of it, I think it would be super cool. Have you seen the movie Jumper?
Oh, what is that a rhetorical question,
Come
bro?
on.
Oh,
So that movie was so dope to me
yeah, it is.
because
It is. You would never be
because
made.
he literally could. Now, I'm not advocating nobody to go steal nothing. However, the fact that he could just go, to the inside of the bank vault, get what he needed, and jump out, and nobody knew the wiser. I think that was like super, super, super dope. And then lastly, the supreme agility of Spider-Man. I think that would just be my three, man, to where I could do whatever I needed to do. I can, if I'm in a tight pinch, I can get away real quick. You know what I'm saying? That is something that I just think would be really, really, really cool. So those are my three. For those of you who are watching live, Tom, comment. Hey Titus, comment in the chat there. What would be your ideal superhero power? Because again, superheroes are the coolest people in the earth to me, and that's why they fascinate not only this country but the world because you can basically be whoever you want to be in these superhero movies.
Right. And then you mentioned something. The latter part of it is application to life. So of course, being let's just say teleportation. It's wonderful for us. You will never be late for nothing.
Never, my friend.
You'd never be late. Well, if you get up early enough or not. So but for me, the super intelligence, having the ability to create from whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, because every power is wonderful, but always having the intelligence to get out of trouble, whether you have the agility or not, whether you have the indestructibility or not, whether you have the telekinesis to move certain things, you still have to have the unique intellect to pull yourself out of any circumstance, either pull
Mm-hmm.
yourself out, be able to talk your way out, being able to think your way out, to be able to build stuff with a little of nothing in order to help you overcome adversities, any deficiencies, you will intellectually pull you. So for me, that is a major superpower, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just how let's do Solomon. Solomon asked for wisdom.
True.
God blessed him with it, and he was
Yeah.
able to do great things. So I would want that ability because that will be not only helpful to myself but helpful to others if I use that power in that way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Titus over here talking about, but he most
The
definitely
ability to fly.
just the
I
flex.
like it though.
For
I like
what?
it.
He,
But hey, listen, come on, man.
I mean, that's
Now
cool. I ain't mad about the flying part, but I ain't finna fly in no storm. I'm gonna
but it's true. That's true
I can
because
fly above the cloud,
I
but
got you.
like I see what then I see the newt chime in. I see Mr. Thomas says he said much responsibility and discipline comes with power. All
Come
right
on,
then. With
come
great
on,
power comes great responsibility since we
come
quoted
on.
Fighting Man and all that
You
stuff.
know it,
So,
Uncle Ben. Shout
yeah,
out.
all day, all day. I mean, but it's important that here it is, the superpower. We all have something unique within us that makes us powerful. It is just that we need not to be distracted by others' abilities to find out what our ability is so we can be the supreme person in our journey in life. So we have to
Absolutely.
be able to do that because here it is, those movies give us an escape and make us feel powerful. But when we leave the movie theater, we can talk about that for a minute, but life still goes on. God has gifted us with natural abilities to be able to overcome particular adversities in life.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing for us is that we need to allow his super to attach to our natural to make us powerful.
Come on, come on,
So
come on.
that's for me, that's the thing. Because every superhero has an origin. In that origin, it shows how they become who they are. So it so in our origin as a child of God, I need to know what it takes for me for here it is to know my ability, to develop my ability, and have the discipline and the responsibility to maintain my ability. But we all have them. Every person, in spite of physical ability or inability, still has a gift to be the most powerful person on the planet. But here it is, you got to get to your origin story in order to find out what you need to do to make that power manifest. But again, a power that's manifesting without the supernatural, the super attached to God is only natural with limit. But with God, you
Yep.
overcome and become the supernatural individual that you can be, powerful in any capacity. So
Absolutely.
that's, I mean, for me, that's what I'm feeling. But
I hear you.
but
So let me ask you this one question before we move on.
what
You
up?
mentioned the supreme intelligence.
Yeah.
So which intelligence would you prefer? Reed Richards or
Oh,
Tony Stark?
are you serious? That
Yeah,
is
man. Which one?
Reed Richards or Tony Stark. Okay, let me
Yep.
ask you this question before I answer this question. Am I taking the attitude along with the intelligence for either or?
Oh yeah, everything that comes with it, my friend.
Uh, I mean, call me bad guy, but I'm gonna be Tony all day.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be Tony all
Tony's
day.
not a bad. Listen, here's the thing about Tony. Tony has supreme confidence in his supreme
Correct,
intelligence.
correct, correct, correct. He
You know,
does, he does, he does.
so it's one thing to be smart. It's another thing to know that you're smart
Right,
because there are people who are brilliant but don't have enough confidence in their brilliance
correct,
to push the envelope when it needs to be pushed.
correct,
You know what I'm
correct,
saying?
correct. I
So,
think, yeah, Tony has that unique ability to put swagger, intelligence, confidence, boldness, and security in self in every area of his life because he knows he is one of the smartest people on the planet.
for sure.
So but here it is. He uses his powers or his intellect to help others in spite of the particular, level of arrogance I say that he would have. But again, if you know you're intelligent, and let's not forget, I mean, you did two others. You did Reed Richards and you did Tony Stark. Please
Hmm.
don't forget about my boy. He's all green on the outside.
Oh yeah, come on,
Yeah.
Bruce.
So Bruce Battle, baby. But
For
anyway,
sure.
that's because we'll talk about superhero characters all day. But the
Oh,
movie
absolutely.
today is Project Power.
Yeah, man. So
So go ahead.
this movie was shot in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
And for those of you who may not know, um, Derrick was born in the state of Louisiana. I personally have been in Louisiana for the past 11 years now.
Mhm.
So I consider myself like a transplant Louisiana boy. Um, and one thing I found very fascinating is that Hollywood loves New Orleans.
Yeah.
Um, I went and Googled a list of movies
Oh man, you see it?
filmed in New Orleans. Take a
Nonstop.
look at a couple of these. I'm gonna give you some recent ones and then some older ones. All right. So, of course, Project Power 2020, Black and Blue with
Fire,
Tyrese
fire.
2019, Girls Trip 2017. All right. We go just move past that. Queen and Slim
Right.
2019. Let's see. One I didn't know, Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I didn't know that. Um,
Good one.
and then 2008, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and a classic movie that I did not know was filmed in New Orleans was a streetcar named Desire, 1951, Marlon
Marlon
Brando.
Brando.
Yes, sir.
Marlon
So,
Brando. Don't get it twisted.
what
I got
is it? What is it that you think is so iconic about the city of New Orleans that begs Hollywood to come and shoot films here?
let me say this in the kindest way I possibly can. Um, New Orleans is probably the one place with multicultural, a whole different flavor and feel. That
Yeah,
is the one place that can expose your pleasure sensor
that's you said that very well.
because here it is: the people, the food, the entertainment, the scenery, everything it has. Because you can. if you put some of these movies, like the festivals that go on and the culture that's there, and the life that you can live, and then
Yeah.
it's just total excitement. But here it is, it's the miniature sin city of the world.
Mhm.
It is the most comfortable spot to explore that sinful pleasure that you so want to. Because here it is, the influence to be free chemically is everywhere in New Orleans. No disrespect to the culture, to the city. The missus thinks it's one of the most. She loves it. I got family there.
Yeah.
So it's just part of the culture. But it is one of those places that always seems to have this unique life that you can't get anywhere. You can't make that up, and so it
Yeah.
gives you that. So those movies that you mentioned, and then the level of intensity that's in New Orleans with the people. And then there's a whole level of lack that is exposed in New Orleans that you're not gonna find in particular places. Then I mean, you got. I could talk for days about it, but for me, it is just that it is the exploitation of your pleasure sensor that
Hmm.
gives you the feel that I want that taste and feel. So, and I
Yeah.
just think that because you can't manufacture that, and New Orleans is the one
Oh,
place
that's
that
real.
you cannot, that you automatically will go places. I mean, you got a you got a whole TV series that is in New Orleans. You got NCIS, that's New Orleans.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, I mean, different stuff, and even so again, I don't want to keep rambling on about it, but bottom line, it is an exploitation. It exposes the pleasure sensor for you to enjoy or indulge in that sinful nature or the spice of life,
Hmm.
or to live it up, because that's what they
Oh,
do.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, two of the things that you mentioned about New Orleans that I love so much is the food and the scenery.
yeah,
We have family down there as well. And when I went and just really was able to kind of see the city, see like the French Quarter and stuff, I was like, man, this is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been in.
right,
So yeah, we'll talk about it in this movie, but there's a grittiness that's very authentic to New Orleans and its people.
right,
And I think that is what's brought about, especially when you have movies that are featuring African Americans. There's always a gritty, authentic ruggedness to their characters that you really can't, that the city matches the actor. And a lot of times the city is a character in those types of movies, like this one, and like Black and Blue. The city is like a character in these movies, and so it's really, really, it's great. Because with all the other craziness that happens in the state of Louisiana and in New Orleans specifically, it is nice that movies are being produced in the city to continue with bringing light to the city.
right. Major light to the city. Again, New Orleans is phenomenal in multiple ways. You keep on mentioning Black and Blue, fire movie,
I liked it.
fire
I liked it a
movie.
lot.
Fire movie on more ways than one. I was like, love the whole from start to finish.
Hmm.
But anyway, we not even talking about that. I just wanted to throw that in. So maybe
I
we
got
need
you.
to we need to jump on that one too. So
Okay.
put that in, we're gonna have to put that in the mix. Not now, but we're gonna put this in the mix.
Sound like a plan. Sound
Yeah,
like a plan.
only
All
way.
right.
Yeah.
So the whole reason for this episode, we're going to dive into Project Power. Of course, this movie was released this year. 2020 has been such a crazy year,
It
but it was
had.
released earlier in 2020. It stars um, Jamie Foxx, Jordan. I'm sorry, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then a newcomer. Her name is Dominique Fishback, and we're gonna talk about this young lady because she was ridiculous
She did
in
an
this
awesome
movie.
job. Like for real, she did an awesome job.
Man,
She played that part. I thought she was a kid, y'all. I thought she was a whole kid. I'm like, she got
yeah,
some
man.
chops. She got some chops. But go ahead, my
Oh, for
bad.
sure,
My bad. I keep jumping in. Go ahead.
for
Go ahead.
sure. No, 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 you're good. So, the overall plot, of course. of this movie is a drug hits the streets that allows people to have superhero like abilities
Right.
for a 5 minute stretch. All right.
Right.
Um, and so one of the things that I thought was really cool, um, and we'll just dive right on in with Bird's character or Robin's character. Um, she was she really embodied the characteristics of a person who has immense talent but has no idea how to focus it and how to challenge it and how to believe in that gift and in that talent. I saw a lot of myself in Robin, especially in the classroom scene. When I first saw the scene and the fact that she went clean off on that teacher, killed the rep, I was disappointed when I found out this was all in her head.
I
Man, I
mean,
was so mad.
but why though? Because here it is. That is some of the most truth that you're gonna ever have. Because you're not. Most people will not be bold enough to expose number one the vulnerable talent and gift that they have, but
Mm-hmm.
then because there's so many things attached to that, because it had to be in her head, because the different level of exposure and truth made her made her suppress the gift that she had.
Yeah.
So and I'll be honest with you, that's how most of us live. We live in our head. We
Oh,
don't live
come on.
outside. We we,
Yes,
we
sir.
live in a world that we can control, and because it was good that she could control it, and she knew the outcome that she could be boss hog and say what she needed to say, and just diminish the school teacher, and
Yeah,
get
man.
the back support of the entire class. But in reality, the fear itself just whole put you in a box that you will not be able, because here it is, you expose yourself and you step out of a comfort zone that you ain't ready for. So
Yeah.
she
Oh, come
that
on.
to me, that is one of the most evident things that we deal with on a regular basis, because we don't want to be vulnerable with the gift that we've been given, because there is a level of fear that puts shackles on us, and so we would rather take the consequence than be able to stand boldly and be confident in the gift that we have, because she has a gift, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
also went in detail about it, later on in the movie. But I'm gonna try not to jump too many places. But her gift, you know, in her head made room for her, but in reality it didn't, because she didn't apply the head version to her feet and walk it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I mean, that scene, um, there's been so many different times where I've visualized myself displaying my talent at the highest level with the highest amount of creativity and ability. And then when an opportunity presents itself for me to duplicate my dream or
right,
to realize my dream, I'm crickets. You know
all
what I'm
day,
saying? Like, and so, that was crazy. And then the way that she responded in real life a lot of times is how I've responded, to where, you have the opportunity to, display this, and you just throw it away.
right,
You're like, you know what? This is really, this stage is too big for me, or I don't think I'm good enough to really do what I think I can do. So I would rather just throw it all away
right,
instead of put myself out there and, let the chips fall where they may.
right. I mean, she had it's so many things that she was, because she wasn't confident in her gift, but she was comfortable selling false hope to other people.
Come on, stay right there. Let's talk about it.
Why I say that? Because she was willing to go on the street to sell this pill for power, to make money. Even her the reason why she was doing it doesn't justify the act,
Oh, for sure.
but she was more capable and felt more comfortable doing the sinful thing, which either one of them you can look at it in that way, because she was going to disrespect the teacher in her head. But
Hmm.
she put what the gift could do in a box, and she put what our flesh would do out on the street.
Yeah.
And for most of us, that's what we end up doing. We will parade this thing around like it's a flag, like it's supposed to be paraded around for all the wrong reasons. And we will sell things in order to get what we want to get with different situations and circumstances. So we have to, here it is, switch roles. But until we switch roles, we're gonna always live in this place where the flesh controls. Here it is. She's selling pleasure for $500. She's selling pleasure that only, here it is. It's telling you it has a 5 minute limit. It's not
Yeah.
eternal. It's not
Yeah.
long term. It's short. It costs more than you're willing to pay for it for 5 minutes. And here it is, the danger, and the cop says the danger of
Oh
using
yeah,
this
we're gonna talk
drug
about that.
to
Come on,
get
bring it
killed.
on.
So most of us only want that particular pleasure, but we don't want to get killed by it. But here it is.
Mm-hmm.
The flesh
Mm-hmm.
might survive, but the spirit gets shut down. Because
Yeah.
the pleasure we put on a pedestal, but the pure thing we put on a shelf. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. So when it comes to time, right?
Yeah,
What we often do is we will rather have a 5 minute window of fun,
yeah,
pleasure,
right.
um, versus work on your gift to give you a long lasting life of success. We would. It's really interesting. I didn't think about how she was selling false hope because
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Like, I would rather, be a person or be somebody that I'm really not for 5 minutes versus deal with the person that I am for the rest of my life
right, right.
versus, work on those flaws and work on those um, deficiencies so that I can grow and maintain this level of superhero versus just only being this wonderful, crazy, unstoppable person for 5 minutes. Why don't you just have a life that's unstoppable versus just being content on 5 minutes?
Because everybody wants to be super, but not too many people want to be heroes.
That's the line. That's the one. Yes, sir. Say it again.
Everybody wants to be super this and super that, but nobody wants to take the time because here it goes. Hero sacrifice. But if I'm super, I ain't got to sacrifice nothing. So I'm gonna do what I want, be what I want, say what I want, have what I want, because I'm super. I'm super this, I'm super strong, I'm super powerful, whatever it is, but I don't want to be a superhero because now I have to build a conscience. Now I have
Yeah.
to be responsible. Now I have to think before I act. Now I can't just indulge myself. Here it is. Now I can't be the bully because I've been bullied because I'm just waiting for my super moment. Because that's
Yeah.
the thing that most of us want is a super moment to deal with the pressure that we deal with or to escape something that we feel like we don't have the power to and we need an extra boost. Here it is that we're willing to use resources for the wrong thing to justify something that is short term.
Yeah.
So a hero does not always need superpowers. It just needs to have the sacrificial mindset that I want not to be that person. And here it is. A hero doesn't have to be dependent upon its powers to be powerful.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't get started
So
because
no, this is a good place to talk about another character. Let's talk about Frank.
all
Frank
right.
the cop,
Yeah, Frank the
right?
cop.
So, he works for the police department and he is the one who saves Robin from being jacked for all of her power, right? And
Right.
so he spends that $500 for the one pill. And it's interesting that when he uses it, the reason why he uses it is because he feels overwhelmed and outmatched
Right.
by the people or by those who are using this particular drug, right?
Yeah.
And so he feels like he has no choice in order for him to do his job effectively, he feels like instead of finding an alternate route, let me do what the criminals are doing, but at least I have good intentions.
Right.
Okay. So I got to ask you this question.
What up?
What why is it when certain people took power, they died? And when some people took power, they were able to live and have, I guess, quote unquote, um, a good reaction versus a bad reaction.
Um, that's a big question. Because the twofold. Make it
Mm-hmm.
simple for you. One, whatever's inside of them was already killing them. It already was destructive in the first place, and so it amplified the depth that was in them. And
Yes,
some
sir.
powers, and some powers would have been so massive that instead of destroying one, it would have destroyed multiple people. So even taking the pill, there is a potential to be deadly, but maybe the pill had its own internal organisms to kill what could have been a killer.
Okay. I like that. I like that. So because I remember during the scene near the end of the movie, um, when he goes to the nightclub and he's confronting the main drug dealer, and so they're in this gun battle, and one of the henchmen takes power, and
Uh
he instantly blows up. I was
huh.
like,
I love that part. I love it. I
like,
love it.
like it didn't take him no time at all. He took it, boop, pow. I was like, oh wow,
Wait. You talking about the dude? Which one? Because the dude that was in the that was selling the power to the people.
not new,
No,
not new.
not new, not new. The other guy, the sleazy looking guy. I can't think of it. I don't remember his name. The one that
I
was,
think I know you're talking about.
huh?
I said, I think I know you're talking about.
The one that put the young lady in the cage. He said CIA got one like this. Are you talking about him?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So whatever is in you,
Uh huh.
when trouble comes, when um, opposition comes, is magnified.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so I personally think that for some people, the character and integrity of your heart will come and magnify itself um, whenever push comes to shove. Because although the major, who is another character, although he had very traumatic history with the drug and being tested by the government and all of that, um, you see at the very end of the movie, the only time that he takes this drug is to protect his family
Right.
and to protect those, so he really does have pure intentions. Because and it's similar with whenever he first meets Bird or meets Robin, and he asks her, "So what's your superpower?" And she was like, "Man, I don't know." He was like, "You hadn't tried it?" And she was like, "Nah, I didn't seen too many people die." And so she doesn't have, although she's selling it, which is crazy, although
Right.
she's selling it, she is of the mindset, if I'll let it kill them, it ain't gonna kill me,
Right.
you know? Um, so yeah, that to me is a very, very interesting thing. Go ahead.
You said 50 things in 2 seconds. Um, she again, she sold it because her mother was sick. She
Uh-huh.
sold it because there was nothing that there was no money coming in other than what she was doing. Well, I can't say that because mom worked for a vet, and that's when she took
Mm-hmm.
Jackie to pull out the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But here it is. This is the other thing about power, the project Power, um, is that she practiced hers. Nobody else did. When it came to using her ability, and even throughout the entire movie, here it is. She was always trying to be a hero, but never trying to be super. She was trying to
Very
be,
true.
and the way she went about it, and here it is. That's how we get caught up as well as people. We want to be the best person we can to help everybody. Some of the ways we do it is not justified, but we look at what we're doing to benefit, but not how we get there. The journey to be powerful can be deadly, but or successful depending on which way you go. She
Yeah.
started out selling it, but she ended up helping Major find his daughter, and in the process she was rewarded. So it shows us there has to be a level of transition from always playing the negative to doing the positive to achieve a greater goal
Yeah.
without taking negative means to get there, because she didn't take the pill, she stopped selling, even though she started her relationship with Jamie with Major under duress. Being
Man,
like
wasn't it crazy?
in a trunk. But here it is. Certain situations we are in, duress may be the start, but it ain't always the continuing journey. We fall under pressure all the time. But do you realize most times we don't know what we're capable of until pressure hit our life? We, we're,
Absolutely.
we're, we're, men, we're basically moseying along throughout situations. We find the best way. It is not until pressure is applied that we find out we can live this different life without even having to go doing the dirty stuff. So,
Hmm.
unfortunately, for most of us, it's become the greatest gift in our life. It's the pain that we deal with, it's the struggle, it's the adversity, it's the overcoming. What will you do when you're overcome with pressures that you never expect to come?
Yeah.
Because she lost Newt, but of course Newt was selling, and I just and I'm know I watched it a couple of times. I didn't put two and two together. In the beginning of the movie,
Hmm.
it told us two things. He says, "I'm gonna give you something that's free, and that is, and I'm gonna give you a shortcut to power. I'm gonna give you something that's free and a
Mm.
shortcut to power." That's what
Yeah.
the major guy started selling. And so
Yeah.
here it is. We'll look for a quick fix, but we don't want to do the work.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yes, sir.
we definitely got to get past that, because it's just like in school. If you can't show me your work, I don't know how you got to the answer. We always want shortcuts. But God says, look here, all work. He says, faith without works is dead. You got to work. And it says,
Yep.
a workman rightly dividing the word of truth. You got to work in order for you to actually overcome adversity. Because I can keep taking a pill. It's when, and see, here it is. The other thing was happening is that when Jamie found Newt, Newt couldn't deal with Jamie, so he overdosed and
Yes, he
killed
did.
himself. And so here it is. If we taking a shortcut, the shortcut will eventually kill us because we're overdosing on it too much. Because we're trying to get rid of situations, we're trying to get rid of circumstances, we're trying to overcome adversity. The shortcut will kill you, because here it is. Your body can only take a limited amount of capacity. So if that capacity is overwhelmed, you going to explode like a hot pocket in the microwave for about 10 minutes.
Come on, Hot Pocket. Yeah,
So I'm
for
just
sure.
saying, it's a level of exposure that is deadly and destructive. And if we take shortcuts, there's so many pieces in this
Hmm.
movie that I was looking at that, and I want to say this while we're on it, is that your level of examination helps you develop. If you can't examine particular areas in your life, your whole life for that matter, the Bible tells us
Hmm.
to examine ourselves whether we be in faith or flesh. It's important that we examine ourselves, but are you examining? Here it is. Are you examining what's coming in your ear gate and your eye gate? If you're not, because you have to, because those are the two places, unless you sleep, they're going to always be overloaded and active.
Absolutely.
So we have to be able, it's like old school, it's a strainer. When you get spaghetti and you straining the water off, you have to take a strainer to your eyes and a strainer to your ears in
Yeah.
order for you to receive what you need to receive. That's why I love, what we're doing, is because it gives us an opportunity to strain what we deal with the carnalness of life, because it's going to happen, it's going to come. And so power did that for me, because it shows that you can overcome adversity without having taken a shortcut. And I just got that from the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, bro.
So,
Yes, sir.
my bad.
So
Go ahead.
no, 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 you're good. You're good. So as we continue to flip flavor, on this movie. There's a couple of things that I picked up in the movie. You mentioned something, um, and I wrote down: discovering your power is a lifelong pursuit, but
Yeah.
once you find it, the key is to leverage it. So if the scene that Major and Robin are in the animal hospital as he's getting patched up, and so she goes off the dome with all these crazy raps, so ridiculous, right?
Hmm.
And so he tells her, he says, um, you got to find out what you do better than anybody else
Right.
and rock that.
Right.
He also says, take your power and leverage that. Use it to take the system down.
Right.
And those two lines were like so important and impactful in the movie because many of us don't know what our power is.
Right.
Many of us um we go through life, thinking what people tell us our power is, that's our true power, but that's generally never the case.
Right.
Um so I look at the life of Peter, right? Peter was a very interesting cat because he before so Peter inwardly
Hmm.
was a person that had a lot of judgmental issues. He had a lot of identity questions because he was just the son of a fisherman, right? That's all he knew. Jesus calls him to a life to follow him and a life of discipleship. And
Right.
then all of a sudden, they're sitting by the beach. And Jesus says, "Hey, Peter, who do men say that I am?" And Peter says, "Well, you are the son of the living God."
Right.
Jesus is like, you know what? You didn't think of that on your own. The Holy Spirit told you that. And so here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you keys, right? I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom, right? And so we are given keys, superpowers, the purpose for our very lives, but we don't always know how to use them and when to use them.
Right.
Because you would think that with all of this great power, responsibility, this purpose that Jesus had given Peter, that he would know how to handle it. But what happens when Jesus is taken away and people say, "Hey, don't you know that Jesus
Right. Right. I'm
ain't
about to.
you with him?"
Right.
And Peter was like, "Man, nah, I don't know that man." They were like, "No, listen, I'm telling you, I didn't seen you with him, around the corner whenever Jesus was doing his revival. I know that was you." And
Right.
Peter just loses it, right? And so it's a journey to understanding what your power is, what your key is, because um, we all have been given keys. We all have been given the ability to affect change in the earth. But we just have to be we have to be ready when the opportunity presents itself, regardless how many other previous times we may have failed God or let him down in our own eyes. Because
Right.
the thing is, Jesus knew Peter was crazy. He knew Peter was crazy when he gave him the
Right.
keys. So you can't say that, Lord, you made a mistake because I'm crazy or because I'm
Right.
flawed. No, the Lord knew when he gave you his purpose, when he gave you his plan, he knew all of you. And so Peter, whenever it was time in Acts to preach after the Holy Ghost falls, he releases his first key. All of these people are saved, right? When he
Right.
goes to Cornelius's house, excuse me, and he now releases the second key and opens up the door to the Gentiles, right? So we all just have to be understand first what our key is, what our purpose is, right? Um, and then once we know what that is, to apply it to a natural level, know
Right.
how to leverage it, know how to let that power bless your family, bless your friends, bless your community, and you can also make money off of it too. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no limits to how God can use us, and we just have to continue the pursuit of our purpose and understanding what our keys is.
All
Keys
right.
are. Excuse me.
I like it. I like it. No, you good. You good. Look. I want to tell you what you hit on, and I want to share this with you. To me, drum roll is the most pivotal scene in for me. One of them anyway.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
It's a very if you miss it, you going for me it was power. If you miss it, you miss it because it's something simple. When Jamie was shot and Robin had him in the vet, sewing him up and doing all this other stuff, he was knocked out, and he asked her, has she ever done this on humans? She said no. That's not where I'm going. I'm going. So what happened is when Jamie woke up, well, Major woke up and she was about to finish, stitching him up. Before she touched him, he said, "Ow." so before she touched him. So here it is. This is what I want to tell you. We anticipate pain prior to the incident, which limits us from actually acting in our gifted areas. We anticipate the failure and cause ourselves to stop the process of healing because he moved, he jerked. So that's what happens to us is that we anticipate the pain. Peter anticipated the pain. Even though Jesus said, "You're going to betray me," he anticipated the pain of being exposed. We anticipate the pain of being exposed to people. We anticipate the pain of the procedure, the process of healing. We anticipate the pain, and it causes us to stop doing what we need to do in order for those gifts to be manifested, for us to be confident and bold in what we're supposed to be doing. But he had to get past the anticipation of the pain in order for him to get healed. And that's what we got to get to, is that if we get healed, use the gift, and be able to be effective because and become powerful. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Some of the most powerful moments is your hurt moments.
Oh yeah.
And so you have to be able to overcome your hurt to be of help to others. Because without overcoming your hurt, because if he couldn't overcome his hurt, he couldn't help her or he couldn't help his daughter do anything. So so that place was a powerful place in that movie because it showed a spot that we were all, but here it is. We have to be willing to go through the process to heal.
Right.
Jamie had to go and then take to prescribed instructions because she said,
come on, yeah.
You got to take the prescribed antibiotics in order for you to become healed. Because here it is, just because you stitched on the outside, your blood needs to be purified on the inside. So you need something internal to work the rest of that stuff out of you so you can be healthy for the fight that's coming. So I'm just saying. Yeah. So.
Hey, go ahead and type your Cash App in the comments so that people can bless
you. Jesus, don't do it.
Oh my God. Oh, and so you mentioned the prescription. He looked at it, he was like, "This is for animals." He was, and Robin was like, "Do you want to feel better or not?"
Right.
And so a lot of times we want healing, but we want it in our own way and in our own process. And God is like, "No.
Right.
If you want to be whole, this is the process that you have to take."
Right.
It's offering time. Yes, it is. Yes, there is. Is there one?
I'm praying for the mission.
Come on.
So I want to go ahead. You good? I want to cut you off.
Yeah.
So it's so pivotal to know that your healing is a breakthrough. Because if she would have left him wounded, he would have never been able to finish because he would have died. But now I'm not going to say died because he was shot in the arm, or the shoulder. I can't remember exactly. But it's just so many things in that. And so the medication was one. And you mentioned something earlier. We're going to keep moving forward. Is that we question instruction. We question instruction. Now here it is. You question my ability because he questioned her ability. Have you done this before? And then after she said no, he anticipated the pain because he wasn't sure of her ability. She was sure, but he wasn't. Because if she
Right.
wasn't sure, she would have took him to the hospital, but she took her somewhere secluded. Here it is the other thing. She took him somewhere safe to get healing. I'm finna go. I'm finna. So in our processes, in our fights, because there will be some battles, and he had that battle where here it is, the enemy he thought he killed. The guy took his power pill, and he had he had this ability to heal himself from
Mm-hmm.
being wounded. The enemy sometimes you think you kill will come back to finish his job.
Right.
But do you have enough strength in your wounded season to finish off the enemy that you tried to wound in order for you to get healing after the fact? So with so many other things as attached to what we're doing when it comes to the power project, and here it is, everybody wants the power, but you ain't willing to do the project to get there. So many stuff. So I'm not finna. I'm a hush. So I'm just saying this movie in so many ways, but again, there's a level of examination we have to have, and there's a journey. Jamie, excuse me, Major, the role that Jamie played, was willing to go through what it took to get his daughter. He was
For
willing to
sure.
go through those extra steps, those extra things, and go the extra mile. Are you willing to go the extra mile in order to pursue the final result that you want? Or will you give up after being shot, after being handcuffed, after almost being taken to jail, after being shot at, all these things, after being chased by a dude that's on fire? All of these things that's happening for your pursuit. So I mean, we can go on and on about that, but
Oh, for sure.
I'm just saying. I know we got
Yes,
time
sir.
and all the other stuff we got to do, but yeah. So just know, powerful
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
But you want to we gonna get to the end because I mean to the movie
Come
that
on.
is.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Come on. Yeah. So
Okay.
let's do the last couple of scenes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, what last? Cause I'm getting to the last scene. You tell me what you go ahead. I'm gonna let you. Don't be putting me on the spot. Okay, here it is. Okay, last scene, and I know I do a lot of clapping. Y'all forgive me. When Jamie took his pill and said, "You want to do this the hard way, the easy way." I'm paraphrasing. And he took the pill, and all of it, and that's what I love. We don't expose it. Here, okay. Stop exposing yourself and your power to the enemy at all times. Wait till you
Mm-hmm.
need it, not just to show off. We do too
Mm-hmm.
much of exposing ourselves to an enemy that's familiar with us because the people had already been familiar with him because they tested his limits, but they didn't know once they took his daughter what new limits he was going to surpass.
For sure.
And so we have to be able to see at that time that I'm not finna waste my life and my daughter's life to expose my power in small skirmishes. Because he could expose his power when he got shot. He could expose his power to catch up with when Newt was trying to get him in the building. He could expose his power, but he chose to walk the journey, to overcome adversity, to fight with what he had, to make it as far as he could, to do what he needed to do, to hold his power to when he was going to need it to most, and that was to save the thing that he was trying to get the journey through the entire movie. Okay, I'm done.
Listen, you just dropped the major gem that I'm not gonna let you just skirt by.
I ain't saying nothing.
There are some battles that we don't even need to fight. It's not
No,
our assignment to fight.
it is.
We have the ability to win them.
Mm-hmm.
We have the capability to fight,
Mm-hmm.
but we are wasting the purpose of the ability
Right.
if we fight small skirmishes. That
Right. Right.
is a word.
Right. And I mean, you ain't you. And here it is. Stop again. Some of us have multiple talents, multiple gifts, multiple powers. You do not have to expose your full repertoire in
Right.
one fight.
Man,
I'm just saying.
that is
You.
good.
I mean, that was the only person that limits you is you.
Mm-hmm.
You and your missus said choose your battles wisely. Exactly. But here it is: choose your tools in the battles you fight wisely.
Yeah,
because
man.
every weapon is differently used in each battle. You can't always use the same weapon because here it is. We're supposed to be examining every move, but if the enemy examines our moves, the enemy pays attention because if you ever paid attention, and this is what I wanted to make sure is that every drug had a tracking system in it.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Every every drug got a tracking system in it. So the enemy is tracking you. He's
Hmm.
influencing you. Here, take this.
Hmm.
Here, take this. Here, take. He's influencing you. He's tracking your progress. He's checking out what you're doing. He's making sure he has all this information about you. So when it's time to fight, he already is confident enough he's gonna win. He has you surrounded by every enemy possible. But it's your responsibility to hold off on the weapon that can kill every enemy at one time. Your
Right.
responsibility. You have to be disciplined. You have to be dedicated. You have to make sure that with great power comes great responsibility, and you can't expose yourself to every person because, because here it is. When you show your strength, you also show your vulnerability.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you better believe it. If you show your
Absolutely.
strength while you're performing that feat, you're also letting the enemy know where you're weak at. And when you perform your greatest strength, he is there to take the knees from underneath you, to destroy you at that moment. And because for most of us, when we use gifts, we become practiced and we become confident. But we got to be careful. I'm telling you, it's because our level of exposure is detrimental. Because Frank the cop had false information and he was
Yep.
pursuing the major. The major had his own information and he had the correct information, but he wasn't sure about where his daughters were. We can't, here it is. We got to be careful also about the amount of information that we receive from people that are not God fearing and God led,
Hmm.
but are
Because
go ahead,
that
Bob.
will lead us into battles that we don't have the ability to win
Right.
because we're using the wrong tool in the wrong environment. Bruh, that.
Or
Mhm.
the enemy sees your desire to be a hero and will use it against you.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure,
I'm
for
just
sure,
saying.
for sure.
I'm sipping my water.
Listen. Well, we have done this movie do justice. Still a lot of things that we really didn't touch,
Right.
but I like everything that we've covered on today. So again, this particular podcast is available on YouTube. Two popcorn preachers. Make sure that you're following us on IG as well. You see the ticker there on the bottom, and then also make sure that you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music as well. So for next week's episode, we are watching Doctor Strange. All right, we're gonna get a little crazy with Doctor Strange
Right.
because
Right.
it's out there, right? So make
Yeah.
sure that you're watching it. And until next week, um, I am Brian, your host. On behalf of DT, my co-host, thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast, and we will talk to you guys later.
Be blessed, people.